Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Jordan, also known as JMonster. I want to thank you for joining me for another replay battle. Today I've got a 2 versus 2 on what I believe is the ETTENMOORS map. I'm like 90% sure this is the ETTENMOORS map. And one of the factions we're going to be looking at today is Lindon, which is actually really appropriate because I think this is the map that I first had an opportunity to show off Lindon to you in the first place many months ago in December. So without any further ado, let's take a look at the army comps, then we can get into the replay itself. Hope you guys enjoy it. So the first army we're going to look at today is, of course, the realm of Lindon, being commanded by Pollux. And Pollux is the one who sent me in this replay, so I'll be thanking him for supporting the channel. But Pollux is bringing some Mythlon Marines. I believe 2 units of Mythlon Marines, a couple units of 4 Lindon Marines, 2 units of 4 Lindon Archers, 2 units of the Noldoran Guard. I think he's probably got some Harlon infantry mixed in here somewhere. I'm just not too sure where exactly they are at the moment. Possibly over here. Yes, indeed. 3 units of Harlindon infantry. And let's move on now to the cavalry. A couple units of the Wardens of Harlindon, and 1 unit of the Noldoran Horse Lords. So it's a fairly balanced force. I really like to see that. And I think that Lindon is probably at their best when they see this, or when they play with this kind of composition. Did I mention the 2 units of Noldoran Guard? Yeah, well, they're here too. And for all you elf lovers out there, I know there are quite a lot of you. Here's another elven faction. This is the ally of Lindon, the Realm of Mirkwood, played by Harry Leedon. He's brought some Hiri Peng, 2 units of Hiri Peng. Some Thedrimi Erin. Oh, great, now we get into the big elven words. Yar Athaliani Nanweth. I've also got some Yara Branani Nanweth. We got a Ballista, what do you know? This is like it's an interesting battle. You don't often see artillery in the field. Actually, we're just having a big discussion about this on in the developer section of the Discord about what we want to do with artillery, so yeah, it's kind of cool to see them in action. It'll be a bit of a cause for or against, a visual argument, if you will, for one side or the other. Also have a unit of Yad Argue in Nanway, so a lot of elven bodyguards here. Actually, we've got all 3 of the elven bodyguards in the field together, which is cool. And a unit over here of the Rekben Yaman Lank. Now, I know he's got a ton of hidden troops. Wow, I was tripping over my words a little bit there. I think he's got some Hethely Tower, so I'm pretty sure that's the Axe unit. He's got some Thierny Tower, which is his bow unit. And I think that just about does it for his army. So let's move on now to what Team Red is bringing to the battle today. Across the way, we have the first Angmar army. We have the first Red Team army, which happens to be Angmar, played by Rependium. And he's brought some Witchrealm Pikemen. He's got a couple units of Blackwatch Legion, a couple units of Guardians of Karn Doom, 1 unit of Witchrealm Blackguard. He's actually got some Witchers. We're going to see some Witchers on the field today. Hopefully we get to see some sweet, juicy fireballs roasting elves alive. Also got some Snug Archers. I think 2 units? Maybe 1 unit of Snug Archers, a couple units of Goblin Trackers. Maybe there's a ton of Snug Archers. Okay, so we got 3 Snug Archers and 2 units of Goblin Trackers. That's really, really skirmish heavy. Not the sort of thing that you usually expect to see from Angmar. I think he's also got... It's a very strange deployment. I'm not too sure what he was thinking here. We got some Trolls of Angmar and some Trolls of Gundabad. So I got the whole troll spectrum of Angmar represented on the battlefield today. Let's move on to his... I think he might have some hidden forces, but obviously we'll see those as the video moves on. But over here we have the forces of Umbar being commanded by Corrigan. He's got some Warlords of Umbar. I think he's got a unit of the Numenorian Lancers hiding in here somewhere. He's also got some Belgier Footmen, a lot of Belgier Footmen. 1 unit of Narunar Royal Guard Archers. And he's got a ton of hidden archers here as well. I think he's got a couple units of Corsair Archers. He's got some Belgier Archers. And I don't know if he has any of the Abrazani units on his skirmish line as well. But they're very skirmish heavy, which is kind of weird to see the elves outgunned in terms of a skirmish fight. But that is exactly what you're going to see on the field today. So yeah, let's go ahead and we'll jump into the replay, and then we can see the rest of Corrigan's army as it is revealed. So immediately upon the gates opening, looks like Angmar is actually going to run for their ally, and you can see some more of his hidden forces being revealed here. We got some Snoggastalkers, I got some Barrow Whites. What do you know? Barrow Whites on the field today. A couple of units of them, very, very tanky, very tar pity with their 3 HP. They have 1 damage, however, but it is AP, so they can be very nasty. They're extremely vulnerable to cavalry, however. They have extremely low mass, so it's easy to run them over. I think we've got 2 units of the Witchrealm Scourge Raiders mixed in as well. They've got their armor upgrades. Let's get a good look at the armor upgrade as they run by. It's pretty damn sexy with a jet black armor. I think that basically covers the length and breadth of the Angmar forces. We can see some more of these units being revealed. Belgier archers, some Belgier footmen out in front. Early attack here from the Rekman Elmon Lank against the Corsair archers, but I don't think they realize just how many archers the Umbar forces have brought. I mean, we're starting to see an archer heavy meta again, and I don't know how I feel about that. Something we've really tried to avoid, but I don't know. We'll see how it does. We'll see how the archer spam kind of works out for Umbar. A couple units of Corsairs here as well. Not really a ton of infantry though. I feel like Umbar would be quite easy to roll over in an infantry fight with how many skirmishers he's brought. It's just a matter of how long can he keep the enemy forces busy to allow his skirmishers some time to breathe and to do their work. But of course, we do have a Mirkwood player on the field today as well, so we could see a lot of those skirmishers go down to some fairly accurate Elven Bowfire. A couple units there with Huri Peng moving forward, looking to pick a skirmish fight, and the Ballista as well. Something to keep in mind. What's it firing at? Is it going to get anything? Oh, it's going after some pikemen. Actually, now that I think about it, I think that the Umbar player has a couple of units of pikes as well. I think it's got the Sentinels and 2 units of the Corsair pikemen, possibly? Not too sure. But immediately upon arriving at his destination, Robandium, he's going to take all of his forces, and he's going to actually charge straight at the Elven line, which is interesting. Ooh, the Ballista actually managing to claim a few of the Witch Realm pikemen for its own. It's interesting. Artillery is generally not used or taken in field battles, but the Ballista is reasonably accurate, and the Isengard Ballista is even better still. So those are, I think, the only artillery pieces that you're ever going to find often in a field battle like this. Witch Realm Scourge Raiders leading the way, probably not the greatest idea. It looks like Robandium just kind of like clicked his entire army over here to fight the elves, whereas the 2 Elven forces are actually quite ordered, and there's like layers of skirmish and layers of defense. You can see the Elven player. Actually, this is a nice move from Harry Layden. He's going to move his Hethelly Tower forward, and he's going to blunt this entire advance. They're just going to get themselves stuck on a single unit of shock infantry. And that's going to give the skirmish line a lot of leeway to do what they want. You can see the Lindon players move forward. A couple units there, the 4 Lindon archers, firing into the advancing Angmar. And they're kind of herding themselves into a little bit of a killing zone here, aren't they? See, the Lindon players actually moved over a couple of his Javelin units and a unit of Rangers. I don't know if we caught these guys earlier on, but a unit of Rangers moving forward towards Valastirian. Oh man, this is the best situation you could ever hope to use these guys in. Thandra and Miarin moving into to flank the Angmar forces. They're going to sweep away a lot of the Hethelly Tower, another company of Hethelly Tower, and the third one. I'm not sure I would have used all of them, but those Rangers and all of this Elven skirmish power is just focusing down on this one blob. There's so many arrows going in, it's actually dropping my frame rate quite precipitously. Oh, wow, one of those elves just got stabbed by a blackguard, but oh, that is nasty. Those Rangers are going to be able to do some serious work in this kind of situation. Oh, just look at the percentages here. Man, the elves are just doing some serious work on Angmar. They kind of walked into a bit of a trap. The rest of the Angmar skirmish forces, meanwhile, have arrived on scene alongside the Corsair archers. And there's the Barrow Whites still to contend with that are moving forward, and they're going to tar pit like crazy. Looks like the rest of the Lindon infantry force is moving up to support their ally here. I think they're going to take position, yeah, basically right along here, and get ready to receive any charges that may come barreling out of the woods. What we got over on this end? And we can finally see the Numenorian Lancers out and about, looking for an opportunity here. There's a lot of Elven archers over there. They have no problem running down. I don't know why they don't go for it. Maybe it's the presence of the Thirny Tower over here. And, of course, there's also the Noldoran Horse Lords from Lindon who are nearby to support their allies. So that's probably the only thing that's keeping this Elven wing here from collapsing under the weight of a Lancer charge. Moving on back over here, it seems like a lot of those Elven units... A lot of those Hethelly Tower just got kind of bowled over, I think, by the sheer mass of Angmar infantry. Like I said, the elves are not terribly able to stand up to mass pushes very well. But now they're going to run smack into Lindon. I think this is going to be where the game comes to an end. You got those 2 units of Javelins nearby, and they are in a good position here to fire directly down into the Blackwatch Legion. And it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen here. 4 Lindon Marines and the Mithlon Marines opening fire. Big, devastating volley of Javelins coming in there, massacring the Blackwatch Legion as they try to just carry the momentum all the way through. Seems like there's a little bit of friendly fire here, both from the javelins and from the artillery piece up there. The Mirkwood player really needs to be careful with their artillery. It's always a bit nerve-wracking, I suppose, when you see someone bring artillery, because there's are ways to use it so poorly that it actually hurts you more than it hurts your allies. Let's see what we got over here. Yarbrani Nanwaith charging into the Angmar skirmish line, trying to thin out some of their numbers and relieve a little bit of pressure on their ally Linden. But there are just so many of them. Beliger Rush, like, this whole forest is nothing but archer spam. It is, that's pretty crazy. Ooh, we're gonna need to be careful. They're gonna skewer themselves. Is Harry Leiden paying attention? It does not appear that he is, and he is going to skewer his own bodyguard on his own stakes. Well, that is unfortunate. He's gonna lose quite a lot of his cavalry there, just because he wasn't paying attention. Sad to see. Meanwhile, the Angmarim push has been shut down, and I think that's a significant advantage for the blue team at this point. Let's see what we got over here. The Barrel Whites are actually winning against Forlandon Pikemen, I'm pretty sure. Again, the friendly fire from the Mirkwood player. I don't know what exactly they're thinking here, but finally they're changing their gaze elsewhere. They're going to take some pot shots here at the Beligear Footmen. And it seems like the Noldor Horse Lords are actually active. I think I might have missed it. Maybe they were after some of these archers. I think they probably were. Yeah, it's really important for the Elven forces. Both of them are the more lightly armored Elven forces in particular, to try and thin out the skirmish line, because this is a lot of damage that can be done here quite quickly. Now let's see what we got here. Wardens of Elastirion, they could be used to great effect. Actually, they should probably be moved a little bit farther forward, a little bit more quickly. You can use them against some of the more tightly packed battalions of the Angmar skirmishers. They would go a long way. What do we got here? Now the Javelins have changed their target onto the Barrel Whites, and they're actually tossing them around, which is, I think that's probably due to how low the mass is on the Barrel Whites, but I'm not entirely sure. But it's still really funny to watch the ghosts kicking their imaginary legs as they get tossed into the air. Completely ragdollized. Linden Force, a lot of it is holding its ground for the time being, although some of their Forlandon archers have actually moved on to their left wing, and they're beginning to put a little bit of fire into the Beligear units. Hold on, I think we missed something that I missed a little bit earlier. Yeah, actually some of the Wardens of Harlandon came in the back, and they assassinated the Witchers, which is a really big deal, and I think they also took some pot shots at the Warlords of Umbar, but eventually they were driven back, and I think they ended up very unfortunately getting themselves caught in some Corsair pikemen and completely destroyed. But in any case, moving on. Got some troubles of good and bad here. Charging forward into the waiting arms of the Noldoran Guard. A lot of Linden reinforcements are being rushed into this crisis area, which is good play on the part of the Lindon player. And those trolls are going to just run smack dab into the middle of the Noldoran Guard, and they're going to start causing a lot of havoc that Linden is going to have to deal with, and they're in the process of doing so. It looks like their ally here, Mirkwood, very wisely moving in alongside their ally, and the two Elven factions through teamwork are going to be able to shut down this push from Angmar. That's basically it for Angmar. So now I don't really know who's left. There's Noldor and Horse Lords. They're going to be charging into the Goblin Trackers here, but this is most of Angmar's force, and it's a big. Well, it's not surprisingly it's not as large a gap as I thought it would be. It's only 10%, which is kind of the magic number. A lot of these Naga archers, though, are going to rout basically on contact, and they're going to be able to scatter the Angmar forces, but there's still Umbar who has yet to be tested. And while Angmar has just rushed in there, Umbar is using their skirmishers to focus down any blobs that may form, which is kind of cool. I think I'm starting to see a bit of a strategy take shape here between Angmar and Umbar. Angmar brought all of the obnoxious shock troops and a fair amount of skirmishers as well. Meanwhile, Umbar brought a ton of skirmishers to really deal some pain to the lightly armored elves. And it seems to be working reasonably well. Noldor and Horse Lords are going to be forced to pull out. They're actually taking some fairly heavy fire from the skirmishers. A lot of Thyrney Tower out of ammunition. Charging into the fray against the Goblin Trackers with some support nearby from, I think, the Forlandon archers. But yeah, it's an interesting fight. It's much more chaotic, less ordered, and a bit more blobby and, dare I say, artless than the previous 1v1 that we saw. But I like it. I like the chaos. Rear charge here from the Noldoran Horse Lords into the Barrow Whites. Some of those Noldoran Horse Lords are going to meet their end at the hands of the Barrow Whites. But a lot of those Barrow Whites are going to go down. You can really see how weak they are to rear charges and things like that. Noldoran Horse Lords going to pull out, ping-pong back towards some of the Corsair archers. The elves just doing their best to try and put an end to this arrow storm, but there's just so many archers. It's really surprising to me. A deadly charge there by the Noldoran Horse Lords, and they're going to turn around and, ooh, a lot of them are actually going to fall there to that constant arrow fire, but they're going to turn around and charge back towards the Barrow Wights, who are actually holding up a significant number of the Linden forces. So the faster the Linden manages to get rid of them, the better off they're going to be. They're going to be able to bring more of their forces to bear against Umbar's predominantly skirmish line. Skirmish army, I should say. Ooh, another nasty charge there, eliminating about half the Barrow Wights. Noldoran Horse Lords turning back around and going for the Corsair Archers once again. Meanwhile, they're being engaged in combat with the Theory Tower in melee. And it looks like now Umbar is falling back. Yeah, you can see some of their hidden units here, a couple units of Corsair Pikemen. I'm fairly certain, yes indeed, there's a unit of the Narnar Sentinels as well. So Umbar now falling back behind their hidden infantry line, just in loose formation, which is a strange way for pikes to be, but I suppose with that ballista nearby, it's a necessary evil. But it'll be interesting to see when they move into the infantry fight, how well these pikes are going to do. I mean, they're now in defensive formation, but there's big gaps that the elves, I'm sure, will just be able to run right through. A lot of their skirmishers being focused on their right wing alongside the remnants of Angmar's army, which it seems like they're reforming now. And now Linden is going to press the advantage home. You can see some Mythlon Marines here moving up alongside some Forlorn Pikemen. I think these Mythlon Marines, yeah, they have yet to be tested, so they're going to be pretty nasty. I think they might be going after the Corsair Pikemen. Ooh, Forlorn Marines over here as well. Focus firing down that pike blob. Ooh, that's just so nasty. So many of those pikemen are going to die so quickly to this. Another volley coming in. See what's going on elsewhere. Linden has now disentangled themselves from the Barrow Wights and beaten back the trolls, and now they're ready to take on these Umbar units on the front lines. They're going to see a beautiful charge here by Linden, all the way into pikes. Maybe not the best thing to do, but honestly, they should be able to shave their way through those pikes pretty easily. But there is some nearby skirmish support in the form of the crossbow Corsairs, and of course you've still got the cavalry and things like that have yet to be dealt with. So really interesting, really chaotic fight. It'll be interesting to see just how well Umbar can hold these guys back. Umbar has now formed lines here, a nice little defensive position, and the elves are trickling in. They're in our Royal Guard on the front lines, now out of ammunition. Yarathaliani Nanwaith moving in against the Narnar Royal Guard. That's going to be nasty, but they are coming out of some serious fire from those crossbows up on the hill. So big mistake here on Harry Leiden. The part of Harry Leiden moving that unit into range of these crossbows before anything could be used against the crossbows. I mean, they've still got rangers. They've still got all kinds of stuff. There's no need to throw your Yarathalian away like this. They're just getting massacred. A little bit of friendly fire. Going to keep this fight a little bit more even than otherwise would be, but just, wow, man, look at the damage. They're down to like half strength in just a matter of moments. Mythlon Marines here charging into the Corsair Pikemen says that victory is certain, but honestly, I would count on the elves to cut their way through this. Over here, Forlorn Pikemen have come in from the rear against the Corsair Pikes. And we got some more reserves from Linden that have moved forward and engaged the Belgier Footmen. They're going to hack their way through them pretty adeptly. Over on this end, we got some Forlorn Marines. It looks like they're going to be taking some pot shots here at the massed ranks of the Umbar skirmish line. And now the skirmish-heavy approach that Umbar has taken, I think, is going to start to turn around against them. With so many units nearby that they can use to engage them in close quarters, or their javelins that they can use to thin out their numbers really quickly and possibly even cause some serious morale shocks, leading to routs. This is the danger of bringing a skirmish-heavy force, I suppose. Some Numenorian Lancers over here. I don't know what they were after. Some Noldoran Horse Lords coming out around from the rear. Ah, I see. It looks like a lot of the Dead Wardens of Harlandon over here as well. Unfortunately, we missed that, but there was a lot else going on in the battlefield, so that's my bad, guys. But yeah, don't worry, you've been brought up to speed. That's basically all that happened there. Over in the back, got some Corsair Savages. Crossbow Corsairs still doing their work. Firing into, what do we have here? Aradirith Amon Lank, didn't even know that they had these. They're trying to get a piece of the Warlords of Umbar, but the Warlords of Umbar are very easily able to outmaneuver them. But the infantry fight, not going great. I mean, it says victory is certain for these Belgier Footmen, but honestly, against Hiri Peng, Hethelid Tower, and all this other stuff, you think that they're going to hold the line. I do not. Yarathaliani Nanwaith being pulled back, Narnar Royal Guard supreme in that situation, thanks to the nearby crossbow support. Endlessly charging Mythlon Marines, apparently having a bit of a pathfinding issue here, which is probably why the Pikemen are doing so well against them. Where the Noldoran Guard are present, however, these guys are getting massacred. And it seems like, what do we got here? some Mythlon Marines charging into the side of these Narnar Royal Sentinels, or just Sentinels, I suppose. And now the Umbar infantry line is in a bit of a bind here. They're being held down in a lot of places, outflanked, completely annihilated, and meanwhile the rest of the Umbar skirmish force has been engaged in close combat. So that's it. Umbar, the only thing they really have going for them is their hidden companies, of course, their savages that we've seen a couple times here. But they've also got their cavalry. Most of the Elven cavalry has been eliminated at this point, and that's going to be the biggest thing for them moving forward. The Elven player trying to mitigate that a little bit, but the Noldor Horse Lords are just not in strong enough numbers. They're actually being targeted as well by the crossbow Corsairs, who have so much ammunition. They've been firing for a while. I'm surprised by that. Another one of the Noldor Horse Lords going down as they try to chase these Númenórean Lancers and prevent them from charging into the rear of their ally, because that would simply be disastrous. Over here, of course, their savages doing their best to fight against the Elven Swordsmen, but honestly, the Hiri Peng, they are archers, and they're not as good as the Hiri Lang, but they are in a league of their own in comparison to the Corsair savages. This is going to be a massacre unless that cavalry can do something about it. What do we got over here? It looks like Lyndon is mobilizing some reserves to try and defend the rear of their ally. You got some Harlan infantry here, some Forlorn pikemen, some Wardens of Elastirion who still have ammunition moving up, and I think they're going to be able to target the crossbow Corsairs, or they have not been already. There's a lot of dead Corsairs there. But yeah, nice rear charge here for the Númenórean Lancers. Oh, into that Wood Elven infantry. Well, that's going to be game over. There is still some Yarithali on the Nanwaith nearby, trying to get a piece of those Númenórean Lancers, and I think the Noldor Horse Lords are in there as well. Yeah, there you have it. Círdan on the front lines, fighting alongside his bodyguard. And a lot of those Númenórean Lancers are actually going to fall. I think some of that is due to friendly fire, but another devastating charge coming in from the Warlords of Umbar. Corrigan really making the most of his cavalry. Brutal charge there into the rear of the Elven forces. They are there with Hamon Lank, not having a good time. Hiri Peng getting absolutely pancaked. And the Wood Elven player is really struggling at this point, especially with the lack of cavalry. I don't know what happened to their mounted cavalry bodyguard, but I assume that they are no more at this point. Meanwhile, on Lyndon's side, things are going significantly better. Oh, well, you know, we have some Elven Rangers here as well, some Dilapengi and Manduir. So many hidden units on a map like this, it's really hard to keep track of them all. But the Corsairs are actually being rolled up at this point. And without any extra infantry support, they are going to be in a lot of trouble. What do we have here? Oh, we got some Casimir's Legion. I didn't even know these guys were in here. Yeah, a couple units of Casimir's Legion. I think there was one other one. Oh, maybe they just brought one. I don't know why you'd bring one unit of Casimir's Legion. That's kind of weird. They're coming under fire by something. From the looks of it, maybe the Rangers, not the best target. Maybe a choice of desperation or something on the part of Pollux. But yeah, there is some Casimir's Legion here. What do you know? Warlords of Umbar still cycling in and out, but the Forlindon companies have arrived. A couple units here of Marines, and I think there's some pikemen as well, and they're going to be used to defend the back lines of their ally, prevent this cavalry from doing what it does best. Let's see, we got the Casimir's Legion. I knew I saw another one. Yes, there's the other unit of Casimir's Legion. They're going to be fighting alongside the Corsair Archers, trying to prevent the eventual encirclement of the Umbar center, but I think at this point that's a foregone conclusion. Actually, over here, if you look at it, it's already happened. The Corsair pikemen have been devastated. Narnar Sentinels are gone. There's just this one unit of loose formation Corsair pikes trying to hold the line, but that Elven Steamroller it's not stopping. It is going to roll up this entire line, and that's going to be it. So now the Casimir's Legion, I'm pretty sure, are going to be committed to the fray very shortly. Crossbow Corsairs, though, the Umbar players really gotten a lot of use out of their Crossbow Corsairs. Let's see what they're firing at now. Onto the rear of the Forlindon pikemen, who are trying to defend the back lines of their enemy, of their ally, I should say. Oh man, that's nasty. What's this cavalry doing over here? Looks like they're charging into the Forlindon Marines. Maybe a charge of opportunity. Probably not the best idea. The Númenórean Lancers are not going to have a good time. A lot of them, I think, are going to get caught out there by the spearmen and flattened. Very unfortunate. Flattened, I should say poked to death. It's probably a little bit more accurate. Pikemen moving in. Looks like they were trying to entrap the Númenórean Lancers. Corrigan, however, was on top of it, and they are going to be able to definitely escape from that encirclement. Warlords of Umbar still very healthy, 23. Looks like another possible charge of opportunity. Ooh, that's going to really hurt those Forlindon Marines. But they're going to want to be careful. Forlindon Marines turned around just in time. Met the Lancers from the front. It looks like the Warlords of... Oh no, they're going to get trapped on pikes. That is not where you want your Warlords to be. I think Korrigan sees he's going to try and pull out of there. But, ooh, the damage was done. A couple of those deads, a couple of those Warlords of Umbar lying dead on the ground. We need a pikeman over here. Ooh, has Korrigan's bad luck run out? Yes, it has. He's going to have a clear line of sight to the rear of these Hiri Peng, just as the Elven forces were managing to penetrate the line here. And it seems like Casimir's Chosen are finding themselves surrounded. Got some Noldoran Guard. Is it both? Yeah, both companies very depleted, but nonetheless present of the Noldoran Guard, beating down the Casimir's Chosen, while Umbar desperately tries to hammer their way through the back lines to get to the support of their elite infantry. But they're starting to take some damage. Rear charge here. Ooh, that's nasty. Into the Harlandun infantry. Are they going to be able to stand? We might see some routing here from Linden. No, indeed. But it looks like the Forlorn Marines are on top of it, however, and they're actually going to catch a number of those Warlords of Umbar. Well, they didn't manage to kill any. Unfortunate for Linden. Let's go ahead and let's slow things down just a little bit and move elsewhere on the battlefield. Up here, we got some Corsair Savages running afoul of the Forlorn Pikemen and the Forlorn Archers. So, like, everything that Lindon has left is just being brought to bear at this point. Some more Forlorn Marines. Look like they might be moving towards the front lines to try and stave off the cavalry assault. Elsewhere, Casimir's Legion completely surrounded. Wardens of Elasteria now out of ammunition, I assume. Mython Marines attacking the rear of the Casimir's Legion as well. And they're being... the encirclement is being completed by a unit? Is it one unit? Of Harlandun infantry. So these Casimir's Legion are not long for this world. See what's going on with the cavalry, though. This is really where Umbar's last great hope lies. Ooh, but they're going to charge their way straight into some Forlorn pikemen who weren't in a position to form a spear wall. But nonetheless, this is not where you want your general to be. Especially not your mounted general. Nasty there. Those Warlords of Umbar are going to disengage again. I wonder what happened to the Numenorian Lancers. Are they still present? I don't see them anywhere. I think this might be where they died. I'm seeing a few of them dead on the field. Possibly the Lindon Spearmen managed to get the best of them. What we got here? More Elven troops piling in against the Casimir's Legion. Umbar are doing really well, though. You got to hand it to the Umbar player. Percentage is still, not super even, but Umbar has been holding them off, and most of the Wood Elves have been completely destroyed, trampled into the dust by the Umbarum heavy cavalry. I got another frontal charge here against some spears. Probably not something I would advise doing. But they were out of formation, and it looks like they are countercharging, so they'll probably get some decent kills there. Yeah, a lot of those Forlorn Marines actually end up falling there. But what do the Warlords of Umbar pay in return? Rather a lot, it would seem. A lot of dead cav on the ground there. Getting caught again by the pikemen. Ooh, that's not what you want. The Warlords of Umbar managed to emerge unscathed from that, only having lost about 3 men from that very depleted unit of cavalry now. Forlorn Marines now retreating. It looks like the Warlords of Umbar are going to try and mount another charge against them, but this is really... there are better targets for this. Although it is to be said that the Linden player has done a reasonably good job at zoning out the cavalry on the back lines. Let's see here. Casimir's Legion, all but gone. There's 12 of them left, and they're being surrounded now. Wardens of Elasteria, looking like they might be coming in from behind them. Ooh, the Umbar general just fell there. That's pretty nasty. And up here, the Corsair Savages now cleaned up at the same time. Well, that's going to be all she wrote, really. I mean, it's not a terribly close game, but I liked the archer spam. It's not something you see very often. I mean, I don't like it, but I like the idea of someone trying something new, especially with more infantry-focused factions like Angmar and Umbar. And I like the fact that they seem to have some good team synergy going on. Angmar making the elves kind of blob up, and Umbar trying to focus fire them down. So that was pretty cool. Also, it's really chaotic too. And there we have an emit defeat. I think that's from Umbar. If it's from Umbar, you'd think that that would be the end of the game, but there's still a few frames left. About 700 or so frames. Maybe there's some hidden units. Yeah, okay, yeah, we have some hidden units here. Some Snaga Archers. A couple units of Snaga Archers just kind of hanging out, doing their thing. I don't know why they weren't in the fray a little bit earlier, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like it would have made a huge difference. Linden still has a lot of their army left, and the Wood Elves they still have some pretty hard-hitting units there. You got the Ballista, Yard Athelion and Nenwith, and of course there's the Thranduil's Bodyguard as well. What do we got? Ooh, we have one remaining unit in the General's Bodyguard from Linden, charging into the Snog Archers, scattering them, and scattering the second company, and that's going to be the end of the game there. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's not as even, but I know some people wanted to see like an Elven win out there or something, just because, I don't know, people don't see a faction win for an indeterminate period of time and they decide that they're underpowered, and then they have to have discussions about why they're not. So hopefully this was entertaining to you, and it does show you the power of the Elven factions. They were able to really take the fight to their enemies, who had an interesting strategy and were obviously willing to work together, and they came out on top by a reasonable margin, probably about 20 or so, maybe a little bit less %. So yeah, really enjoyable game. Thank you to Pollux for sending it in to me, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Until next time, everybody, take care. Bye-bye!